Hello everyone, Kalive here. Welcome to this new series on Ark Survival Ascended. So Ark Survival Ascended, if you're not familiar, is the remastered version of Ark Survival Evolved. And this game is a survival game that has dinosaurs and a lot of other survival elements like building, crafting, things like that. There is a lot to get into before the game, and we're going to try to speed through that as much as possible. So let's get started. So to go over this quickly, we have Survival of the Fittest. This is a Battle Royale game, or a version of the game. So if you want to play a Battle Royale version of the game, you can click this button. This is going to be to join multiplayer servers. So click this button if you want to join a server. There are private servers, there are public servers, there's PvP, PvE servers. This button right here is the one that you would click to create a single player game or resume your single player game. That's the one we're going to choose. And this is a mod list. There's mods built into the game. I believe they use CurseForge to do the mods. And there are mods available for PC and consoles as well. So let's click on Create or Resume. Alright, so for single player, we have one story arc available right now, and that is the island. That's the one we're going to play. There are mod arcs or mod maps. These are the story maps. Mod maps would include the new map coming out, like the center. That'll come out in end of February 2024. And the story arc, there are 6 of them that are being ported over from the original game. And starting with the island, we will go through Scorched Earth, then Aberration, I believe, then Extinction, then Genesis 1, Genesis 2. And there may be additional ones being added. Those were the rumors, but we'll have to wait and see. Once you've selected the map, the next thing is mod settings. You can add mods. These are the mods that I've added. There are a bunch of other mods you can look through. If you want to look at the mods, you can go to Get Mods at the bottom. You can activate, deactivate mods with this button. And you can also see the ones that you've downloaded here. The next thing we're going to do is look at game rules. So this is where you can customize the world. And I would recommend a few things. First, if you're brand new, choose difficulty. You could start with easy, but I would recommend against doing easy. I would instead just say do hard. Hard gives you the closest rule set to that of the public servers, and it doesn't affect a lot of the dinosaur stats. If you go to easy and then later on you go to hard, the dinosaur stats change quite a bit, and it throws off a lot of the mechanics and how the game plays. But I'd recommend just sticking with hard. The next thing you want to do is go to Rules, very bottom, there's a single player setting. This also affects dinosaur stats and your own personal stats. I would turn this off. Even if you're new to the game, I would just recommend just turning this off. The game is difficult, but the difficulty can be overcome with time. And we can get into that more, but essentially you get dinosaurs, then breed them to become more powerful. And the more powerful your dinosaurs, the easier the game becomes. That's how you get through the difficulty of the game. So at this point, once we have this setting off, we can just customize the game to kind of just pick and choose the things that we want to add into it. So I would recommend going to World and then changing the multiplier, turning it up. If you just click on it, there's a slider. You can drag a slider. 3 is technically the highest of the slider, but you can make it higher than that. You can just say 4. Alright, so with that said, let's jump into the game. Alright, you're going to pop into the character creation screen. This is all just customizations that you want to do to your character, make them look whatever you want to look like. This is my character. Probably get a little darker, I think. Let's go there. Yeah, get a little bit of a tan. I'm going to be in the sun a lot. That's pretty much it. All this is customizable: head, torso, arms, and legs. So you can do whatever you want. You can make some weird characters, or you can make them as normal as possible. So this is my character, and I'm going to jump into Create. And this screen right here, let me turn off waypoints. This is what you're going to see if you've played the game before. This map is linked to my installation. So I've installed it on my computer. I've played it before. I've unlocked this much of the map. If you have not unlocked the map, you're going to see this black area like this. And it's just going to cover the entire screen, but you will see these little dinosaur icons, and these indicate spawn points. I would recommend, if you're starting off, to pick either South Zone 1 or South Zone 2. Those are the two easiest, and they're very beginner friendly. And if you want to do a note run, which is what I'm going to do, I'd recommend picking West Zone 2. So you do a note run in order to get a bunch of experience in the beginning of the game, and this levels you up very quickly. And it's not that big of a deal because the game still plays out where you can actually have to craft everything and get the resources and all that stuff. This just gets you a head start in the game. I'd recommend this on servers, and I'd recommend this if if you're already familiar with the game, you probably know about this. I'm going to turn on waypoints, and I want to show you something as well before we get started. These are the waypoints in the game, and I've created these in the game. I'll show you how to do that. But you can go to the Ark wiki. You can look up where the Explorer notes are on the Ark Ascended data map, and it will show you where all the Explorer notes are and give you coordinates. And so what you can do is you can go into the game, you can add those waypoints for each note, especially in the southwest corner where we're starting at, and that'll get you the notes on the screen so you can actually go to each one. And it'll be quicker to do that than to try to follow along with a video, which makes it a little bit harder. So this is a better way to do it, I believe. So let's go into the game and spawn in. Alright, so let's change some settings real quick. What I'm doing is I'm going to the console command here, which is tilde key on PC. I'm gonna have to enable console commands on a console. And what this will do is I'm changing the settings so that I can actually play the game on my graphics card. I have a 12GB graphics card. It's a few years old, so it's not the greatest, but it does play the game fairly well when I make these changes. So what I'm doing here is I'm turning off clouds and turning off fog. Those two things right there will speed up the game. This is all personal preference after that. So if you do those two things in the beginning, that'll turn off the clouds, that'll turn off the fog, and that'll make the game way more playable for older cards. If you have a 4080 or a 4090, these settings should be fine. You don't need to make any changes. One thing I also want to point out is that, so we have grass density down to half. I changed the grass size to 0.75 because there's some really tall grass that's really hard to see over. I turned off cascading shadows, which affects how the shadows look in the evening before sunset and sunrise. It really affects the shadows and makes them look broken for me. And I've also turned down the triangles to render. So if we're in the jungle, it makes the game frame rates stay high while we're running through the jungle. So if I change this, there we go. I like it like this. It's got more of the old school feel to it, the old Ark Survival Evolved feel, which I prefer. All right, one more thing we're gonna do. I'm gonna show you the map system very quickly. If we go to our inventory, at the top, there's a map button. We click this, and this is where you put in your waypoints. So click the waypoints down here. You can add a waypoint. You can put in the coordinates that you find on the wiki, and you can type the names of the notes or whatever. So you can add notes that way, or you can just double click, and then you can add them this way as well. So either way would work. Once you have the notes in here, you can click on the notes or the waypoints, and this will show you them on your screen. So we see I clicked 4 of them, and there are 4 showing up. So this gives you a easy way to get to each one of these notes, and it makes it easier than having to follow along in a video. So we're gonna probably get to level 70 with all these notes, but we need to start at a specific one. So the goal is to start at let's go to this screen first. This one right here. This is the first one we want to start at. So we can clear POIs. This will clear our screen, and we'll click this first one. So we only have one on our screen. This is the one we want to go to. We don't want to get any of the other ones before we get this one. I guess we could do this in reverse, but I'm going to start with this one first. So let's go to this one, because you may have spawned in on the other side of this island, which is perfect. That's where you want to start off at. So I'm going to try to avoid raptors. Does it already see me? Okay. Let's try to find something to keep it off me. Yeah, you have to be careful of the raptors as well. They are faster than me, so they're going to catch up eventually. I don't see any of the dinosaurs. Oh, I'm out of stamina. Alright, that's fine. We'll see if we can spawn in a new area. Alright, we respawned, and we spawned in the same spot, but we did die over there, so we have a lot of room now to run around. So I'm going to go to this other note, and then we'll get started at that one. Alright, here we are on the map. This is our location. So right here by this very first note on the map, and it's right here. So let's get this one first. This is the Quetzal dossier, and that's our first note. So if we look at our buffs, it shows us that we're getting a quadruple XP buff, and we have 590 seconds left. So 600 seconds in total for this buff. And the goal is to, when you get the note, you get a burst of experience, and you get a buff that lasts 600 seconds. So if we look at our inventory, or go back to our stats, we see we got levels. The first bunch of levels are going to be pretty quick to come by. So let's just take the time here and get some points in a few things, and get some stamina just to outrun things. And then some weight for sure. We'll get a lot of weight. And we'll deal with this a little bit later. But we now want to go to the next note. The next note's going to take this 4x experience, and it's going to use that on the next note that we get. The experience we get from that note is going to be 4 times as much. For some reason, the single player game gives you all 4x notes, which is kind of weird. But the server gives you 2x notes on everything except for this one note over here. So this next note we're going to get, if you look at our map, it is green. It says 4x at the very bottom here. That's the 4x note, the only 4x note in this area. So I know it's weird, but single player, it gives you all 4x notes, but in multiplayer on servers, you're going to have different types of notes. So while you're running, you want to keep hitting E, or the button that actually picks the items up. Not sure what that is for console players. But this will get you additional experience because you're grabbing stuff. And then down here is the next note. This one right here. In the old game, you have to jump off and then swim to shore over there. Not anymore. We have to go back up, and we have to get this next note. Obviously, we got more levels as well. We can put some points in here. We're gonna get 300 weight as well. And we get some points in fortitude to get rid of that heat debuff. Let's do this. Alright, so let's also look at our map here. So we got all these notes, these 2 notes, this one and this one. We want to get this one next, and then this one. So those 2 notes are marked now. So let's go to this one first. It says it's up high, but it's not. That's just a bug. Or that's actually, it's telling me it's above, but it's actually underneath the cliff. We also want to avoid that raptor that we ran into earlier. We probably could get either one of these right now. Let's go to this one first, and then we'll come back down to this one. There's no set way to do this, really. As soon as you get that 4x green note that I have marked on the map, you want to get the next probably 6 or 7 of them as fast as possible, because that's the only 4x note. Oh, there's a raptor right there. Let's run away. It's already eating something. Keep on running. Those have like really long aggro range. I think we're good. Yeah, so once we have our 4x note, we want to get the next few of them really quick. We need to get some water. You definitely want to avoid sprinting everywhere. I have a habit of doing that. Just because it causes your water to go down. In order to get more water, we need to go to the edge here. Alright, let's get some more water. Then we'll head back up to the next note. There's a shark right there, but it's fine. So let's look at our map here, clear everything. We need to get this one, this one, this one, and this one. So all 4 of those are showing up now. And stamina's still low. Get some food here. You can eat these white berries to get more stamina. I would recommend not doing that as often. Make sure you refill your water and head back up. Alright, so let's walk to the next ones. you have 600 seconds to get all these extra notes. But what we're doing now is we're going to be getting even more levels. We're now at level 62. The goal is to get to 70. Once you get to 70, the notes kind of fall off. Like, you're not going to be getting as much from getting these notes. This is not a lot of experience, but with all the note buffs added onto it, it does become a lot of experience. But hitting 70, it does cause a diminishing return. So like right now we're getting like, 20 levels per note. But once we hit the 60s, it's going to go down to like a few levels per note. When we hit 70, we may get 1 level per note. And it becomes pointless to go beyond that because you're not going to get any more levels after about 75. Alright, so this is the next note. We should be pretty close to 70 now. These next two, definitely grab the next two. So where are we at? Let's just put some points in. We can spend the time to get some points. Get to 300 weight, 300 health, and probably 30 fortitude. And then the rest of it we can put into a few points into stamina. I would just stick with health, weight, and some fortitude. Those are like the skills that are more beneficial throughout the entire game. There are instances where other skills are semi-important. Like right now, melee would be fun. Melee gets you more items when you grab or when you use a tool on like different resources. Melee will boost the amount of resources you get. Things like stamina is sort of good, but you're not going to be using stamina as much, and you get 100, which is not too terrible. But things like oxygen, those are not used a lot. Like those are only used in water. So your oxygen stat's going to be not as important. Same thing with food and water. As long as you have food and water on you, you're never going to use those stats as often. Yeah, jump down right here, I think. Yeah. Still, we don't want to take too much damage. And this is the last note. So we kind of did a little path here. With this one here, then this one, walk the path. That's the note, and now we're going to go down this hill to this note, then cross the water. And hopefully we get a couple more. But once we hit 70, we'll try to get to 75. If you're on a server that has the same rates I have, 4x, you will probably get higher level because you're going to have two buffs. You're going to have the 2x buff and the 4x buff going at the same time. It's going to get you more levels. But on a single player, it's only a 4x buff. But we get more experience. Oh, where did he come from? Let's run away. There's a couple of them there. Yeah, we get more experience if we keep these buffs and we start crafting stuff. That's when our experience goes up much more than on servers. I really wish it was the same as it is on servers where you have a 2x and a 4x buff. And there's probably a way to change that. I just don't know where that is. So when you get to a river, you want to check for piranhas. Always check for piranhas. So go like out a little bit and then look around. If you don't get attacked, you're kind of fine to swim across. But if you get halfway through here and you get attacked, you're kind of done for. They're going to swarm you and kill you pretty quickly before you can make it to land. So we fortunately didn't get attacked by piranhas. If you do get attacked by piranhas, you can swim to like over here where it's quicker to get across, and then right over there. So a little bit further down where it's a little bit quicker to swim across. And then those are better places to cross. The next note we want to go to is going to be the two right here. So let's clear these and mark. We can actually get rid of this one. You just right click on those and delete your death notes. That one, that one, that one, and that one. So we have these four. Here's the next note. This is the Pachyrhinosaurus. So this next one's on the land right here. So we need to go across So these two are on the cliff side. Okay, so the first one is right here, next to this rock. It's really hard to find this one. This is like the hardest one to find, I believe, out of the ones we've found so far. But essentially you have to come over here, and there's going to be like these rocks right here. It's right in here. And then the last one's going to be over here. Still on top of the cliff, so don't jump down just yet. Yeah, this is an easier one to find. It's a big wall. Stone wall. They walk around this wall. This is why I turned down the grass in here, because the grass would be really high and really dense and really hard to find those things. But alright, that's all the levels we need to get. So we wound up 73. So let's get some more points into health. Probably go to 40 fortitude. I'm not going to do oxygen. We'll go in the water at some point. You can change these stats. There's a mind wipe tonic that you can create, and it does cause you to reset your points that you spec into, and also it resets your Engrams that you spend. So let's get some points here, and let's probably do, I guess I'm going to do some points in the melee for just crafting or gathering resources early on. And then, honestly, at this point, you can just die, or we can just run to the next spot. So I want to go to either, let's go to this next note over here, and we're going to start up there. We want to go to the water's edge. And if you are not sure where you want to build, which is definitely normal for people that are just starting playing the game, you can start by creating a raft. And a raft will get you a mobile base that you can take apart later on and take things off of it and then move it to a bigger base. That's one strategy to start off with. Plus, a raft is a great way to get experience. So if you didn't do the whole note run, I would recommend leveling up by getting at least one note and then creating rafts. That's another great way to level up. You'll get to at least level 50 very quickly doing that. And you can dismantle the rafts that you create, and you can recreate new ones. You do lose some resources doing that, but not very many. And yeah, that next note should be over here. There it is. Some nice little wall here. This is Helena note number 7. Alright, so let's see, what do we get? We didn't get a full level. See, once you get like levels over level 70, the note return is really bad. So that's why I wouldn't recommend doing that. But at least we made it to this side. So we want to go to the coast, and I'm going to start at the southern coast, and we're going to create a raft. And that probably should be it for this episode, because it's going to take a little bit of time to gather the resources. So we need to start off with our Engrams. So let's make sure we're safe here. Let's go up higher. This will be better. Let's go higher. There we go. Now we won't be attacked. So let's go to our inventory again. And this is our Engrams. This is our technology tree. Essentially, we can put points in here, and then once we learn these things, we can craft them. So I would recommend getting these 3 things. You can get clothing. Yeah, I would recommend getting clothing. The only thing I would not recommend getting right now is saddles, because you can get drops. There are drops in the game. Do we see any drops? Yeah, there's a white beam of light over there. That's a drop. There's one over here. I can't tell what color that is because it's in the sunlight. That's also a drop. It's hard to see that. Nothing really around us. But there are tons of drops, and in those drops you have a chance to get saddles and a chance to get blueprints for saddles. If you have a blueprint for a saddle, you can bypass like learning a saddle. So if we get a Phiomia saddle blueprint, we don't need to learn this. We can use the blueprint to make saddles. And the blueprint saddles are typically better than the ones that you can learn here. Well, actually, they're always better. These are like the base saddles that you get. They have the least amount of armor and stats. So don't get saddles. Everything else should be free game. You need this to progress. This is something else you need to progress. Narcotics as well. Definitely need Ebola. So let's just grab these things. if you have something that has a prerequisite, you're going to get this pop up. So if you want to learn the bow, you need to learn the sling. That's pretty much what it's saying here. It's going to cost you 17 instead of 11. That's just a warning. Alright, you could get blueprints for clothing, but it's usually later in the game that you get those. At level 16, you can get the raft. So that's the raft right here. And I would recommend getting the large storage box because this is going to be where you store all your resources at, and it works well with the raft. So if you didn't make it past level 16, I would also recommend getting refining forge, smithy. This is the next tier of technology. You use the smithy, you can craft metal tools, and then you can also craft things like the crossbow and then the pike. These are weapons for later tiers. We can get to these pretty quickly. And then I would also get the stone. This is typically the highest you would go on a PvE server, or anything other than playing other players. So even though I'm playing on a PvP version of the single player game, I would still just stick with stone. So you can build your bases out of stone. Nothing will break these. No dinosaur, except for the ones that swim, the Dunkleostis, can break stone. So as long as you don't build things in the water out of stone, you should be fine. Alright, so let's, now that we have all of our technologies, we need to start crafting stuff. So we go to crafting here, we get all of our Engrams here. This is not everything, we still have to make a smithy. Once we make a smithy, we can actually create smithy specific blueprints, like those metal tools that we learned. We have to create a smithy in order to actually craft those metal tools. And we need to make a refining forge in order to make a smithy, because it requires metal ingots. So there's like a path to actually access these things. Even though we're at level 73, we still cannot access, metal tools yet because we don't have the actual items to craft those things. So you still have to start off in the basic area. So I would recommend crafting the stone pick and the hatchet. In order to get the hatchet, we need to have a stone pick first. Let's put that in our hotbar here. And we can now get some flint. So we can use our stone pick. And this will get us enough flint to make a hatchet. And I think for the hatchet, we also need to have some thatch. And you can get thatch by using a pickaxe. And you can use this on a tree. And that'll get you more thatch. So we can now create a hatchet. I would recommend creating a few spears. You probably need like 3-ish. It's a good place to start. And this will be our main weapon to kill dinosaurs. Or I guess smaller animals. Because we will need hide, and you need hide in order to build a raft. So this is why I like sticking to the coastline here, because a lot of these smaller dinosaurs tend to be on the coast. But in some water. Hopefully there's no piranhas here. No piranhas. Okay. Yeah, be careful with the piranhas. But the dinosaurs we want to target are going to be these guys here. These are dodos. These are very easy to get hide from. So let's equip this. And this is kind of the beginning of crafting. So take him out. If we use our pickaxe on a dead body, we get meat. We get more meat. If we use a hatchet, we get more hide. We want the hide right now. So we got 11 hide. We get more meat than we get hide, but that's because that was low level. Typically, you get more hide. Yeah, so we got a little bit more hide. And then we need to go find some more of these guys. So now that we have learned the Engram, we can actually track that Engram. So we want to track the Engram for the raft. So we right click on the raft, click track. We now have a list of ingredients for this. So we need 50 more hide, which means we need to kill these dinosaurs here. So let's go find these guys. There's a bunch of these guys on the coastline. Yeah, this guy's a higher level. This is a smaller one. One more. Alright. These guys do have headshots, so you can aim for their heads. Yes, we got a little more hide. And then, make sure we get all these bodies. So we're actually over the amount that we need. There we go. We give 106. Now we just need wood. So we get wood from trees, using the hatchet on trees. If you use the pickaxe, you get more thatch. If you use the hatchet, you get more wood. Wood does weigh a lot, so you have to be careful with how much you get. Should be able to get 250 pretty quickly though. You can see that our weight's getting really high. Alright, we need to drop some stuff, so we can probably drop all this prime meat. This stuff spoils really fast. You need spoiled meat, but we'll get to that point later. Also, all these berries. Get rid of the seeds. You can search up things, and then like berries, and then click on this button right here. It drops all of what you searched up. And it gives you a little warning. Now we dropped all the berries. We just have this stuff in our inventory. We're still kind of high. We have a bunch of stone. We don't actually need the stone just yet. It's actually taking up a lot of weight. Nope, that's not a tree. That is a tree. Alright. So now that we have all the ingredients we need for a raft, we can go craft one. I wouldn't worry about sharks. Sharks will not attack rafts. There is a dinosaur that will attack a raft. That's in the deep ocean though. So as long as you're in the coastline or in the shallower waters, like this is all considered shallow. You can kind of see the bottom. When you can't see the bottom, that's what it's considered deep. There we go. There's a raft. Click on it, and there we go. We have our raft. We can jump on it. We can move around with it, so we can now ride it. We can build on it. We can build structures on it. So we'll get to that fairly soon. But we should be safe on the rafts. There are a few dinosaurs that can still get us. There are things like sarcos, like the alligators will jump on here and hit us. Anything that swims pretty much will hit us. That's also a land dinosaur. Those are the ones you have to worry about. So sarcos, also spinosaurs, they'll run up here and hit us. A couple more things about the raft is we can turn off the sail by going to the menu, clicking options, click hide sail. We can also rename this. So we can say options rename. Here we go, little raft. And now we have our little raft here. Another fun thing is if we go to our map, clear POIs, we can go to tracking and we can go to vehicles. So we go to this tracking list, which is this tab right here, click on vehicles, we can see our raft. And now we can track our raft. So if we're out in the jungle and we need to find our raft, we can now see our raft even from far away. So we're out of sight, we can still see where it is. It's just a quick way to find your raft. That's why I like the rafts early on, because they are easy to track. But that's going to be it for this episode. We did make it through pretty much the very early stages, probably all of day one. Day one's almost gone. The days are long here though. So the next episode we will get into building on the raft, and then we'll get into finding a base location and maybe taming some dinosaurs. Alright, so that's going to be it. I thank you for watching. I appreciate all of the support, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.